Have you ever wondered how this man,
The things I do for love.
and this man,
Get behind me.
can be the same person? Jaime Lannister looks like one of the most inconsistent characters in Game of Thrones. A cynical bastard suddenly starts acting like an honorable man, then slips back into cruelty, then becomes honorable again. But if you look closely at his past, you can see the exact reason he became like this. And suddenly, his pattern becomes very consistent. So what was Jaime really? A cynical murderer? A hero hiding his honor? A traumatized child? Maybe all of these. Why was his conversation with Catelyn Stark supposed to be mutual mockery, but became the first real moment of revelation for him? Why were the two women who should have hated him the only people who actually understood him? And what does actual game theory tell us about his choices? Jaime was one of the characters whose image was established very early in the show. In the first episode, he shows his arrogance. He provokes Ned Stark and then pushes Bran out of the window. From the very start, we are prejudiced against him. And because of that, we usually miss one important thing. The arrogance is not the whole man. It is a mask.
I could care less what anyone thinks of me.
That's what you want people to think of you.
Jaime gives us the first clue. When he sits in a cage with his cousin, he remembers the time he squired for Barristan Selmy.
I couldn't imagine being able to fight like that and to help him do it, to be a part of something that perfect.
Sir Barristan was his idol, the closest thing to a perfect knight.
Stepping into a dream you've been dreaming for as long as you can remember.
Of course, we can say Jaime says that because he wants to get his cousin's trust to then kill him, but he would not be able to put it so well if he hadn't really been through it. Jaime wanted to be a perfect knight, to protect the innocent, to fight for his king, to serve and do all the things a knight is supposed to do. But reality was not a perfect song, and Jaime had to face it very early. Jaime's beliefs were tested right after he joined the Kingsguard. By the way, he was only 15, almost a child. The king he pledged himself to was very far from the noble king he imagined. Soon Jaime had to see the brutal execution of Ned Stark's brother and father. No honest trial, no justice, only madness and cruelty. Jaime was terrified, but what could he do? That was the moment he first faced the conflict he later described to whom? Catelyn Stark. All his moments of revelation were with people who despised him. Why? We'll get to that a bit later, but then things started getting much worse. Jaime was not the only one who was terrified after that execution. Other lords were thinking, I could be the next. Jon Arryn, Robert, Ned rebelled. Many joined them. And when the Mad King, surrounded by Tywin Lannister army, is going to burn all the capital with wildfire, Jaime faces the hard choice. On one hand, the knight protects the innocent. On the other hand, he swore to serve the king. But
What if the king massacres the innocent?
he decided to kill the Mad King and save the innocents. But what did he get in return? He did not just get contempt.
You are a man without honor.
He did not even get the right to be judged fairly. And you know what the real tragedy is? This situation is a classical catch-22. Whatever Jaime decides, it would be wrong. Imagine Jaime does nothing. He doesn't kill the Mad King, and the Mad King destroys the city. If Jaime somehow survives that, what would people say? You were there, why didn't you stop him? You are a coward. You are supposed to protect the innocent. You did nothing. That's what people would say. After that, Jaime came to one major conclusion. No matter what you do, you will be judged, so why bother?
No matter what you do, you're forsaking one vow or another.
So he hid behind the cynical bastard mask, and he stopped deciding for himself. He outsourced all responsibility. You guess where? That's right. To his father, but most of all, to his sister. And Cersei was happy to help. Cersei did not want to partner with his own personality. She wanted a tool, an extension of herself, and they fit each other perfectly. Cersei becomes his permission slip. Jaime does not have to ask, what is the right thing to do? He can ask, what does Cersei need me to be? And Jaime becomes her male avatar, something she always wanted to be. When he pushes little Bran, he doesn't need to sit there and think, can I kill an innocent child? The only direction of his action is to protect Cersei.
He's a child, 10 years old. What were you thinking?
I was thinking of us.
The moral side barely enters the room because Jaime has already learned the lesson. Right does not protect you. And he symbolically erases his own responsibility with this line.
The things I do for love.
Not because he decided to do that, not because he chose it, but for love. He hides behind love and pretends the choice was not really his. Then he goes to war because Tywin tells him to. He is captured, tries to escape, kills his own cousin.
You'll have to die.
And again, the reason is the same. He wants to get back to Cersei.
I murdered people so I could be here with you.
But if you think the honorable man was completely dead in him, that's not true. He was hidden deep inside, but not dead. Maybe Jaime doesn't understand it himself, but he never fully gives up the hope that one day someone will see the truth. That someone will say, you are not just Kingslayer, you did the right thing. But he does not seek that from the people closest to him. That would be pointless. Tywin made himself very clear about it, and Cersei would definitely agree.
A lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of a sheep.
But life is life. You can't hide from yourself forever. And that starts with Catelyn and Brienne. Are you surprised I mentioned Catelyn?
She is a truer knight than you will ever be, Kingslayer.
Kingslayer.
Their short conversation sounded like an exchange of mockery, but actually there was much more than that.
You have forsaken every vow you ever took.
So many vows. They make you swear and swear.
Why did he suddenly start this monologue about vows in front of a person that openly despises him? Jaime opens up to his enemies because his family needs the mask. His enemies, strangely enough, can hear the truth. Jaime is at his lowest point now. He is sure he is going to die.
I believe it's my last night in this world.
He has nothing to lose, and he finally expresses his deepest pain. It's like releasing a burden.
Defend the king, obey your father. Protect the innocent, defend the weak.
But that is not all. He understood that Catelyn was one of the few who could understand him, however strange it may sound. Catelyn's entire life has been defined by the Tully words, family, duty, honor, and she lost her family for duty and honor. She lost her beloved husband. Her teenage son is forced to lead an army. Her daughters are hostages. All because Ned decided to support Stannis' claim for a throne. Stannis was no one to him. Not family, not even a friend. Catelyn would rather have a little less honorable, but alive husband. And he did not even have to betray anyone. Just leave things as they were. Accept Joffrey and go back home with his family.
Bend the knee and swear loyalty to my son. And we shall allow you to live out your days in the grey waste you call home.
But he sacrificed it all for some stranger's claim. Even Cersei said that.
Do you love your children?
What she means is, do you understand that your family will pay for what you are doing? That's why Jaime's words land so well. But that is not all. When he reminds her about Ned's cheating.
The walking, talking reminder that the Honorable Lord Eddard Stark another woman.
Do you think he is just twisting a knife here? Not only. What he says is deeper. Even Ned's honor is conditional. He sacrificed his family for Stannis. But at the same time, he violated a sacred vow for a moment of lust. We now know that Ned did not cheat, but he still lied about Arthur Dayne. He asked Littlefinger to bribe the city watch, so he can also be not that honorable if the end justifies the means in his mind. So Jaime was right overall. And what does Catelyn do?
The Kingslayer. He escaped in the night.
Why?
For the girls.
He betrayed his king to save innocent people of King's Landing. She betrayed her son to save her innocent daughters. She sacrificed her honor as well. People usually say that Catelyn was desperate, and there is a truth to that. But was she crazy? Would she betray her son and let the Kingslayer go if she still considered him a man without honor? I don't think so. Catelyn was the first one who could see beyond Kingslayer. When she let Jaime go, she was giving Jaime a chance. And this one gesture meant a lot for him. If you enjoy breakdowns like this, please subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thank you. So Jaime is on his way to King's Landing with Brienne, and this journey will redefine all his life completely. Brienne of Tarth is the most important person in Jaime's development because she gives him a moral compass completely different from the one he built for himself.
It's a long way to King's Landing. Might as well get to know one another.
Looks like Jaime is making fun of her, but think about it for a second. He has been imprisoned in a cage for months. Everyone was forbidden to speak with him. And when he is finally free and has human company, it's no surprise he tries to talk. And he really wants to know her better. Because what else is there to do on the road? But when he gets to really know her better, something changes. First, when they meet Stark soldiers, she shows she's a good fighter. He is really impressed, and he respects her for that. But there is a much more important thing. He sees that she is devoted to knightly ideals. She still believes in service.
I don't serve the Starks. I serve Lady Catelyn.
She decides to bury hanged girls, despite it costs them a lot of time.
I think these women would understand.
I don't care what you think.
She is determined to fulfill her vow to deliver him to King's Landing. And she wants to protect the innocent.
We're not doing it. He's an innocent man.
Reminds you of anything? Of course, it's himself when he was young before his beliefs were shattered. Even when he discovers her feelings for Renly, he recognizes something familiar. Loving someone you were never supposed to love.
Don't get the juice who we love.
And all his sarcasm and mockery, you thought he was trying to hurt her? Of course, it's his usual sarcastic style, but that's not all. He is not only mocking Brienne, he is mocking the kind of person he used to be.
Take the bridge and risk being seen, or cross the great water.
Silence, Kingslayer.
He sees how she has to face choices similar to those he had to face, and he mocks it.
It's wonderful to watch you wrestle with these dilemmas. Which will she choose?
While Brienne is deciding whether to risk the bridge, Jaime is basically having a dialogue with himself and remembers his own main dilemma in the throne room. But there was another dilemma just before that, and that one changed Jaime's life again. And here comes a very interesting moment. Brienne and Jaime meet a peasant guy. Jaime is suspecting the man might have recognized him.
He knows who I am.
He doesn't.
Maybe you're right. What if you're not?
From his point of view, it's better to eliminate the threat. But Brienne refuses to kill an innocent just out of suspicion.
We're not doing it.
This situation is a textbook prisoner's dilemma, a very popular problem from game theory. In case you don't remember what it is, I will remind you. Imagine you and your buddy decide to rob a bank, but something goes wrong and you get caught. You are put in separate rooms and asked what happened. You have options. You can stay silent or you can blame your buddy. The obvious choice is to say nothing, but there are consequences. The problem is that you don't know what your friend is going to say. If you both are silent, each of you gets 1 year of prison. If you blame each other, you both get 5 years of prison. But if you blame him and he says nothing, you are free to go, and your buddy gets 10 years of prison, and vice versa. What would you choose? Tell me in the comments. There are different strategies for how to play that. Of course, from a general perspective, it's better to stay silent. You get only 1 year each. But from an individual perspective, it's actually better to blame the other one. You have a chance to get out of it free. But even if you don't, in the worst case scenario, you get 5 years, which is a lot, but not nearly as bad as 10 years. This is close to what decision theory calls a minimax strategy. You are not trying to get the most beautiful outcome, you are trying to avoid the worst one. And that is a strategy Jaime chose, not just in this situation, but in his entire life. Assume betrayal, strike first, and make sure the worst case scenario cannot happen to you. When you look at it through that lens, defection isn't malicious. It is actually rational. Remember Bran's situation in the very beginning. What was the worst case scenario? Bran talks, Robert knows everything. For Jaime and Cersei, that's a death sentence. So he must act to ensure that doesn't happen. Such decisions are usually questionable morally, but Jaime already understood morality becomes blurry when every option is ugly. So he pushes Bran. Here he wanted to do the same. But Brienne is different. She chooses another strategy, mutual cooperation. She spares the farmer. But this is Game of Thrones, not pink ponies. The farmer defects.
That's him all right. I saw him fight at the tourney for Sir Willem Frey's wedding.
He sells them out, gets his bag of coins.
Give the man his silver.
And Jaime and Brienne get the worst case scenario. So yes, In pure survival terms, Jaime was right. Brienne's honor got punished. But that is exactly why this moment matters. Because Jaime sees something he never expected. Brienne can be punished for doing the right thing and still not become like him. When he steps in to protect Brienne, Jaime loses his hand. Why did he even step in? She was the reason they were caught. He had all the reasons to be angry. Or not? Jaime paid dearly for it. He lost his sword hand. It's actually a miracle he survived in that mud with such a wound. But the worst part is that for Jaime, his hand was his identity. He wasn't a strategist like Tyrion or a politician like Tywin. He was a sword.
You lost your hand.
My sword hand. I was that hand.
When he lost his hand, the Kingslayer persona, the cynical bastard he had been hiding behind, started dying too. He cannot hide behind the old masks anymore. He is forced to realize that if he isn't the greatest fighter in Westeros anymore, he has to figure out who he actually is. And he has no idea who he is now. He decides to die along with his old identity.
I'm dying.
Can't die.
But Brienne gives him a cold shower right away. She is good, I give her that. She doesn't seem to have good social skills like Littlefinger or Varys, but being completely sincere, she finds just the right words. Jaime doesn't need comfort now. He needs a jolt.
Where people have important things taken from them, and you whine and cry and quit. You sound like a bloody woman.
See Jaime's face? Her words landed. Actually, she is right. They are at war. People lose their homes, their families, and their lives. Jaime lost one hand. He is still a golden son, still a Lannister, still alive. He will not starve to death or die in a ditch. But after that, she thanks him in her own way.
It's called the Sapphire Isle because of the blue of its water. You knew that.
So why did he save her? Traveling with her, Jaime was observing Brienne as his exaggerated mirror. And this comparison is brutal. Jaime was humiliated because people called him Kingslayer. And yes, it hurt him deeply. And now he saw Brienne humiliated all the time for simply existing the way she was.
You're a woman! A woman!
A woman who didn't fit the standards, a warrior nobody wanted to take seriously, a person mocked for her face, her body, everything.
If you can call that a woman.
And yet she stayed composed. She did not build a cynical mask. She has every excuse to become bitter. More excuses than him, honestly, but she doesn't. And Jaime has no answer to that. After they are caught, Brienne never second-guesses her decision. She never whined, never said something like, "I should have listened to you," even after what those men almost did to her. So when he saves her, it is not random chivalry. It is Jaime refusing to watch another honorable person be broken by the world the way he was. Would Brienne remain the same if these men had done what they planned? Jaime did not want to risk it. But their biggest moment of revelation is yet to come.
Why should I care how you die?
By the way, why is Brienne so mean to Jaime?
Why do you hate me so much? Have I ever harmed you?
You've harmed others.
Hating Jaime is partly a defense mechanism. If she understands him too well, her clean picture of honor starts cracking. And how is she going to live with that? So what happens in a bath is a pivotal moment, not only for him, but for her too.
You're supposed to get me to King's Landing in one piece. No wonder Renly died, but you got him.
He starts by mocking her. Why is he always doing that? He insults her, strikes a nerve about Renly or anything, and then immediately backtracks and apologizes.
That was unworthy. Forgive me.
Is it just his usual cynical mode? That too, but not only that. He wants to crack her rigid moral framework because her purity reminds him of everything he lost. When he brings up Renly, he is attacking her exact vulnerable spot. He is essentially saying, you swore to protect Renly, and he died right in front of you. You failed your vow too. The tragedy and the beauty of their dynamic is that Brienne doesn't snap.
Don't you mock me?
I'm apologizing.
He doesn't actually want to hurt her. He wants her to understand him. And then Brienne looks at Jaime with disgust, which is, as we figured out, just her own defense mechanism. But Jaime doesn't know that.
There it is. That's the look. seen him for 17 years and face after face.
She accidentally touches the wound he has been hiding for 17 years. She looks at him the way Ned Stark looked at him, and Jaime finally snaps.
You all despise me, Kingslayer, oathbreaker, man without honor.
In that exact split second, Jaime isn't looking at Brienne anymore. He is looking at every lord, every knight, every honorable person who ever looked at him like dirt. But at the same time, he knows that Brienne is good. If even she looks at him like that, then maybe the world was right about him. He wants to finally testify for himself, and he tells her everything.
He burned lords he didn't like. He burned hands who disobeyed him. He burned anyone who was against him. Before long, half the country was against him.
About Mad King's paranoia and obsession with wildfire and tortures.
He loved to watch people burn. So he had his pyromancer place caches of wildfire all over the city.
About his father who came to King's Landing promising to defend it against the rebels. And Jaime understood that Tywin was lying.
I knew my father better than that. He's never been one to pick the losing side.
He tried to persuade the Mad King to surrender.
I urged him to surrender peacefully, but the king didn't listen to me.
Look at Brienne's face. She is shocked to hear that. Obviously, the version she heard was something like Jaime cowardly stabbed the king in the back to ensure his father takes the city easily. She didn't know that the Mad King was about to destroy the city with thousands of innocents.
He told me to bring him my father's head. If your precious Renly commanded you to kill your own father and stand by while thousands of men, women, and children burned alive, would you have done it?
This question is not only for Brienne. When Jaime gasps out the details of the wildfire, describing how the Mad King commanded him to bring Tywin's head, how he screamed, "Burn them all," he isn't just defending his actions to Brienne. He is going back to the moment that made him the Kingslayer. He needs Brienne to understand that he was not trying to be a monster. He was a teenage boy trapped between two impossible vows. And if Brienne can hear that and still see a human being in him, maybe he can finally see one too. He needs her understanding because he cannot give it to himself yet.
If this is true, why didn't you tell anyone? Why didn't you tell Lord Stark?
That's probably the question anyone would ask. Indeed, why? Why didn't he come to Ned and explain everything? But the truth is, no one wants the truth. Ned doesn't want the truth. It's too complex. Calling Jaime a traitor is easier.
He judged me guilty the moment he set eyes on me.
But you know what the tragedy is? Jaime actually tried to make Ned understand. We all saw the scene in Season 1, but we completely missed the subtext. Here, in the empty throne room, Jaime faces Ned. He hides behind his usual arrogant, smiling mask. But listen closely to what he actually says. Why is he even bringing up the past?
I was standing right here when it happened. It was very brave, your brother. Your father, too.
What looks like an alpha male standoff is actually a desperate, failed attempt to reach out to the judge.
They didn't deserve to die like that. Nobody deserves to die like that. But you just stood there and watched.
Wait, Ned. Let's stop right there. What exactly would you like Jaime to have done here? Kill the Mad King right there? Obviously not. When Jaime did that to save thousands, you judged him for that. Ask the Mad King nicely not to execute the Starks and join them in that fire right away? No. Seriously. How was a teenage boy supposed to stop a tyrant in a room full of guards? Tell me in the comments if you have any idea what Ned actually expected from him here.
500 men just stood there and watched. 500 men, and this room was silent as a crypt.
No one did anything because there was nothing that could be done at that moment. But Jaime is the only one who is judged for that. Look at this unvarnished contempt on Ned's face. But watch what Jaime tries next. He drops the sarcasm and for 1 second tries to stop being Ned's enemy.
When I watched the Mad King die, I remembered him laughing as your father burned. It felt like justice.
Jaime is telling him, I didn't just save the city. I avenged your family. I killed the monster who murdered your father. He is being entirely honest. He is vulnerable. And for a split second, He expects a shred of human understanding. And what does he get? Look at Ned's response.
Is that what you tell yourself at night? You're a servant of justice. That you were avenging my father when you shove your sword in Aerys Targaryen's back.
Look at Jaime's face when the mask slips for a moment. That is pure pain. He is thinking, I avenged your blood, and you still look at me like I am dirt. In this exact moment, Jaime realizes it is impossible to be judged fairly. He will never reach Ned Stark or any of the honorable lords of Westeros. The mask comes back immediately, and he starts mocking the rules again.
If I stabbed the Mad King in the belly instead of the back, would you admire me more?
And what does Ned say? He shows he didn't even listen. He doesn't care.
You served him well, when serving was safe.
Safe? Serving the Mad King? The man who executed people on a paranoid hunch? Even so, Jaime tried to persuade him to surrender.
Once again, I came to the king, begging him to surrender.
He did all he could, but Ned doesn't care about it. He already built his convenient narrative. Jaime is a traitor. Why change it? We can see Jaime's pain when Ned leaves him, but here in the bath, he explodes.
By what right does the bull judge the lion?
Really, by what? Ned was honorable, yes, but he was not morally perfect. He rebelled against his king. He lied about Jon Snow for years. Later, he asked Littlefinger to buy the city watch. He made choices where the end justified the means too. Was he really better than Jaime? Tell me in the comments what you think. And Jaime just wanted to stop being Kingslayer and become Jaime again.
The Kingslayer!
Jaime. My name's Jaime.
In this bath, he did not only face Brienne. He faced his younger self, Ned Stark, and every honorable lord who had despised him for 17 years. And Brienne was the first one who actually listened. By traveling with her, seeing how she deals with humiliation, and still stays herself, and finally telling her the truth, Jaime starts making peace with himself. He leaves Harrenhal as another person. Not magically redeemed, of course. Not perfect. But not the same man who could push a child out of a window and hide behind, "I do it for love." And we see the evidence of that right away. Remember Prisoner's Dilemma and his old strategy? Up until this moment, Jaime's entire strategy for years was do whatever keeps you safe. Now something has changed. He risks his own life and jumps into the pit unarmed to save another person. Because old Jaime could leave Brienne there and live with it, but new Jaime cannot. This is why the bear pit is not just Jaime saving Brienne. It is Jaime finally choosing his own conscience over the safest move. And this is why Jaime Lannister's story is not a simple redemption story. He was not secretly a perfect hero. He did terrible things, but he also was not just a monster. He was a boy who believed in honor, saw that honor fail, and then spent 17 years pretending he did not care. Brienne did not magically fix him. She did something much more important. She gave him a mirror. She showed him that you can be humiliated, punished, mocked, and still not betray yourself. And in the bear pit, Jaime finally makes a choice that is fully his own. Tell me in the comments, do you think Jaime's real tragedy was Cersei, Ned Stark's judgment, or the moment he stopped believing in honor? And don't forget to like and subscribe.